Hey guys, Kurt here of NK Garage, and I got a lead on some tools. So we're on the road. We got Nick and his wife Stephanie here today. And Steph actually got the lead for these tools.
Winning.
You want to fill them in a little bit on how you got this lead?
My real estate agent, Justin, for United Realty, he is selling this vacant house from this elderly lady who is moving out. And her husband, I guess, just has a ton of tools. So.
Alright. Nick, what do you think we're going to find today?
Oh, this is one of those ones you never know what we're going to get. I'm going to go ahead, assume it's your typical, older person, probably some sort of tool chest with a bunch of mismatched sockets and wrenches. That's what I'm leaning towards.
What are you hoping to get?
Well, the dream scenario would be maybe this guy's a machinist or something and has a full-blown machine shop, but that's dreaming into the clouds.
What do you think we're going to get, Steph?
A wrench. Maybe.
I'd hope to get some wrenches. I like wrenches. Yeah, we have no pictures. We have no idea what we're walking into. We just know we're going to bring some money, and we're probably going to leave with some tools. So, I'll fill you in a little bit, and you'll get to see the potential tool haul. Alright guys, so we're back here in the garage, and as usual, we definitely came home with some tools. So, we got a bunch of more heavy duty and oddball stuff right here. We got a snap-on toolbox over here, and a bunch of small stuff over there on the workbench. And then there's even a little hidden goodie at the end. So, let's get into it. First off, we'll start here with this pickle fork. It's made by Proto, and I always pick up the older USA-made pickle forks because these things are made out of good steel, and the newer ones are just really junky. Next up, this older Jorgensen C-clamp. It's a 2.5 inch. I don't normally find these older C-clamps in what I would consider decent enough condition for me to pick up. This one isn't perfect by any means, but it's definitely still usable. We got a Craftsman 10-inch pipe wrench. It is well worn, but we didn't pay much for it. And I just like picking up these older Craftsman USA-made pipe wrenches. It's kind of funny on the back. It just says guaranteed. Then we got a rigid pipe wrench. It's an 18-inch, and this is the one with the angled head. We actually haven't picked up a single one of these in any of our tool hauls before, so that's why I grabbed that one. In the back, we got a bunch of oil cans. I have started a collection of these. I just really like them. This one on the end is an Eagle, made in USA. This one here says manufactured in Pittsburgh, or manufactured company Pittsburgh Gem. I'm not really sure. I got to clean it up. This one here is made by Singer. This one I haven't been able to find any writing on it. And then the one over here is an Eagle. Then we have a flaring tool here. This one's made by Imperial Eastman in the United States. So I just picked it up because it's a bit better than the one that we already have, or at least heavier duty. We got a KD brand tubing bender. And down here we have a Stanley soft-faced mallet. Thought that was pretty cool. And then we have a pipe cutter here. I'm not even sure which brand this one is. It actually came inside this toolbox. Got a couple of chisels here. These two are Craftsman. This one I'm not sure. I cannot read it. This here is a pretty cool jack. It's made by Load Stop Manufacturing Company in Miami, Florida. Couldn't really find any information on this online, but basically there's like a 3/4 inch pipe down here. You got the foot, and then it's kind of like a little mini farm jack, kind of interesting, but could definitely be useful, so pick that up. We got a puller tool here made by Bray in USA. It's definitely heavy duty, so that's going to be added to our puller collection. Then next up, we got the snap-on toolbox. And this I kind of wasn't sure if I should just leave it there or take it home because it does have some condition issues. That being that it has been repainted on the top. There is no key for the lock. And it has just a little bit of rust and what I would consider normal wear given its age. But I really liked the drawers and just how heavy duty this thing is. You know, this is not a light duty toolbox. It's made 2-3 times as stronger as the Craftsman ones. And I just kind of really want to restore it. I'm not sure if I'll have time for that. So if it sits around long enough, I might just pass it on to somebody else. But figured it was pretty cool and I just wanted to bring it home. Next up, we got something quite interesting in this box. And this, I believe, was made for the United States Air Force. It says USAF. I'm not sure if that's for the Air Force or not. Let me know in the comments if I'm totally wrong. But inside here is a really interesting torque wrench. It's made by Klein, and right here it says Joe Me 4800 size 4. But this is a torque wrench that's 3/4 inch drive, but it only is gauged in inch pounds, and it goes from 0 to 4800 or 1200 to 4800. I'm not entirely sure. I did test it. It does click. Not sure how accurate it is, but we just thought this was really cool, and it came with the case. Continuing on with torque wrenches, we have this USA-made Craftsman 1/2-inch drive torque wrench. It's just an old-fashioned click style, and it goes up to 150 foot-pounds. Then we have a Mac Tools model R-150 old beam style torque wrench. Again, 1/2-inch drive, made in USA. This got me pretty excited when I found it. It's an SK flex head 3/8 drive ratchet with the bent handle. Handle is about 10-12 inches long, and it's in decent shape. Pretty cool. We got another just standard SK 3/8 drive ratchet. Again, seems to be working fine. And we got this small Mac flex head ratchet for 1/4 inch drive. We got a bunch of loose sockets. I picked up anything that was USA made, so there's some older USA Husky stuff in here. There are a lot of, this one's actually a Blackhawk, but there's a lot of SK sockets in here. So you see right here, here's a 10mm. There's some Williams in there, some Craftsman. There was 1 or 2 snap-on sockets. There's a Mac socket in there. Here's an extension. Not sure. This one, I think, came out of the toolbox. I think it's unbranded. Also, we got this SK swivel adapter here, 3/8 drive. We have a 1-inch extension for 3/8 drive, and we have a 6-inch extension for 1/4 inch drive. All of those by SK. We got 2 impact socket sets. They're made by Olympia. These are just Taiwan socket sets, but they did come with the cases, and these are both metric sets. The one in the back is complete. It's for 3/8 drive, and this one is missing the 16mm. It's for 1/2 inch drive. Those we just kind of threw in at the end. The guy was trying to get a certain amount of money, and we ended up throwing in some extra tools. Got the Sears Craftsman 5-piece screw extractor set, lightly used with the case. Got 3 SK metric flare wrenches here. So that includes the 9 and 11mm, 10 and 12, and this one right here is 13 and 14 with the pouch. This was pretty awesome. We got 7mm through 19mm of these SK polished chrome wrenches made in USA, and there's no owner's marks on any of these, and as far as I can tell, there's no damage or rust. The only thing is that we're missing the 15mm. So I actually went online on eBay and bought one. Unfortunately, given all the tool holes we have gotten before, we didn't have that wrench, but Now it's coming in and we'll have the complete set. We got a bunch of tap and die stuff. There's just a bunch of loose taps and dies in here. Even this reamer here and this larger drill bit. And we got a bunch of die handles. This one I don't think was labeled. This one here says it's made in USA. This one here is a GTD and it's number 1751. We got 4 of the tap handles here. These 3 are made by Ace, and this one here is made by Powercraft. And then we got these tap handles. All 3 of these are made by GTD. This big one here is the number 5. It's pretty nice. A little bit of surface rust just because this was sitting in an old wet basement, but it should clean up okay. This one here is the number 4. Again, has a little bit of rust, but it's not too bad. Everything moves smoothly. And this one is the number 0, also made by GTD. Got a bunch of loose wrenches here. This one is the one I'm most proud of. It's an old Williams Super Wrench, and it's 1.5 inch by 1 7/16 inch. There's another Williams Super Wrench right here. This one is 7/8 by 13/16. Got a 6-point Craftsman wrench here. There's some old USA Husky wrenches. This one's a Bonney. We got more Craftsman. We got some SK Wayne, SK. This one here is Hazit, and it is the 19 and 17 millimeter. Got some more SK flare nut wrenches. This one here's a Herbrand. Yeah, that's it for the wrenches. Then we go into some measurement tools here. We got some old style calipers in the back for drafting and whatnot. Got an old protractor here made by General. We got 2 of the dial micrometers made by JT Slowcomb. These 2 I'm actually going to do like a just minor restoration on. I'm going to clean all the rust off and then actually adjust both of these to make sure they're calibrated properly. Got a KD Tools gap measurement right there. Going on to screwdrivers, we got 5 Klein screwdrivers back here. There's 3 of like the quick wedge style. Then there's this one, is pretty interesting. It has like multi-layered taps, I guess, and it's exchangeable, and there's some on both sides. So the taps are actually I think they're made, can't tell who made them, but they have 3 different sizes on each side, so I guess you get 6 different common taps, I guess for cleaning out screw holes. So I've never seen that one before. The one on the end is an insulated flat blade. That's pretty nice in case you're doing electrical work. This here is a Herbrand small little flat blade screwdriver. Not only is it a longer, smaller flat blade, but just given that it's Herbrand and it's made in USA, I thought that was pretty cool. I can't keep my hands off the Stanley 100 plus screwdrivers, so we got a stubby Phillips right there. Got a Craftsman Torx driver right here. Got 2 of these. These are actually the Quick Wedge brand wedge screwdrivers. They're kind of rough, but I just kind of threw them in because I think they're cool. Then we got this nut driver here, and it's made by Bridgeport. So I thought that was kind of funny given that we just bought a Bridgeport mill a couple of weeks ago. In the back, we have a couple of spanner wrenches. Oh, I forgot the snap-on. Yeah, we got 3 snap-on screwdrivers here. This one is very rough. It looks like it has that clear amber handle under all of this junk. And then we have this one. It was the best condition one, and then this one with the crack handle. But snap-on screwdrivers are always a plus, so I'm not going to complain there. Back in here is the spanner wrenches I was talking about. We have 3 of them with the pin style here. These are all made by J.H. Williams. These 2 here are the same ones. They're the 471. And it's hard to tell, but the writing on here says 3/4 to 2 inch. Made by Williams. we'll be cleaning those up. And this is the next larger one, also by Williams, and it is the 1 1/4 to 3 inch.
These actually aren't the same. That's the pin style, and that's more of a hook style.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, this is the 471, and this is the 0-471. So yeah, Nick is correct. This one, I didn't even see that, is the clutch style, and these are the pin style. And then we have 2 more clutch style, just spanners here. I picked those up because we might be able to use them on the lathe and the mill with collets. And then this guy, wasn't really sure. It's made by Williams, and it says 2-inch size, but I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm going to be looking into what that guy can do for us.
I believe that's for hydraulic cylinder on the, well, could be for hydraulic cylinder on the end. Instead of having the gland nut with the holes on the outside, this would be the hydraulic cylinder would pass through this, and then it would screw into the gland nut. So we'll have to look into that more though.
Nick found an old wood plane. This one's actually made by Miller's Falls. Might be hard to see, but it says right there, Miller's Falls, number 900B. And needs a cleanup, just like everything else here. This stuff was sitting in an old, just wet, moist basement. But we can bring this stuff back, so thought that was pretty cool. I got 3 wood chisels here. They're made by Marples, I believe that's what that says. And they say Sheffield, England on them, so figured I'd pick them up. I mean, it doesn't hurt to have a couple extra wood chisels, and if they're nothing special, then they could be beaters, so it's good to have. Got 2 General number 69 wire stripper and cutters, and we got a small little parts cleaning brush here. I mean, it says barbecue rotisserie, but we'll use it as a parts cleaning brush. And then we got the pliers. So this is probably my favorite pair of pliers here. You won't be able to see it, but this is a pair of Klein tongue and groove pliers, and I just really like these. You know, I was telling Nick just how much I like them, and he just kind of made fun of me, said they're the same thing as channel locks, but the grips are just a little bit thicker. But if that's what makes it more comfortable for me to use, then I like it. We got 2 of these all trade, all grip pliers here. I've never seen these before, so I just figured I'd pick them up. One's got the flat style with the grooves, and then the other one has like the notched style, so I figured I'd give them a shot, try them out. There's a pair of Klein wire strippers and crimpers here. Got a pair of Proto slip joint pliers. This one's a pair of Craftsman Western Forge slip joint pliers. This is a pair of needle nose pliers. I don't know what brand they are. All I could read on there is it says it's made in Sheffield, England. So I figured I'd pick them up. And the joint feels pretty nice. I mean, obviously they need to be cleaned, but it's a nice tight joint. Got an old pair of channel locks here. This is an old pair of Fuller needle nose pliers. We got a pair of Crowder Lyman's pliers right here. Old pair of KD hose clamp pliers, and an old pair of vice grips. And a lot of this stuff is definitely rusty, but if you watched our last video, you saw us clean up our tools with some Evaporust. So we're definitely going to be doing that with a lot here. And I think we'll take it over to Nick next. He'll show you the big surprise that we picked up at this tool haul, and then we'll take it back around and we'll look over our favorite pieces in this haul.
All right, guys. So last but not least, we got this beautiful 3/8" chain with some hooks on the end, probably 25 feet long. So I guess like, comment, subscribe. I'm just kidding with you. This is what I wanted to talk about.
This?
Would you just look at this thing? This was the first thing I saw when I walked in, and I knew I personally couldn't leave without it. Kurt had his reservations. He does not like buying things like this that can't be tested on site. We clearly could not test this in this garage. It was a cluttered mess, but I knew I had to have it. You can rebuild old jacks. So what we have here is a Walker jack. From what I've been able to research, this is probably somewhere in the 30s to to 40s. So we're coming up on 80 years old or so. I don't know exactly what model this is. There are a couple different Walker jacks of this era. The more I'm leaning towards, I think this is between a 3 and a 4 ton jack. As you can see, it's very long. It's a very low profile for such a large jack. I was that kind of sold me on it, because we have things like skid steers and trucks, and getting under them is kind of hard. They don't have a lot of ground clearance. Now for the bad, I guess. The handle, it looks like has been broken and repaired at some point. You can see this patch plate. It's on both sides. So that is probably going to need to be fixed. And then for the more disappointing part, it doesn't really jack. We get maybe 8 inches off the ground. It won't go much higher. I have added fluid to it. It's not a fluid problem. Well, I guess it is a fluid problem because all the fluid leaks out. So I think this thing's going to need a new set of seals. But for the, I believe, $100 that we agreed on for this jack, it's not a bad little refurbished project. We're definitely going to get this thing back in action, because how cool is it to have an 80-plus-year-old jack of this size in your garage?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it is super cool, and it's super vintage. Basically, it's definitely an antique. And when this thing is restored, it's just going to be a looker. I mean, everybody's going to be like, holy crap, what is that?
Because not only are we going to do a functional restoration, we kind of want to go through and paint it, clean it up. We have our company colors of a bright orange and a bright green. So we might do something kind of to match our company colors, but that'll just be super cool to have.
Yeah. Well, let's take a recap on the entire tool haul. So you guys are probably wondering, what did we pay for all of this stuff? We settled with the guy on $500. And how we got there was, basically, they were selling his mother's house, and all this stuff was in the basement, along with a bunch of other stuff. And everything needed to go. We heard they had tools needed to go, they were looking to sell, and that's how we ended up in the basement buying their tools. And the guy was trying to get me to take everything, but there was just so much garbage. There was just tons and tons of garbage. So I don't really want to take his garbage. So I told him I'm going to pick out what we want, and then we'll settle on a price. And he said, fine. We made a pile that was probably a lot smaller than he thought, because he kind of was looking at it with like a, that's it kind of thing. So then we started offering him money. We had a small pile of tools. I had said $100. Then we made the pile of tools bigger. I said $200. It still wasn't enough to get him going. So we started adding in things like bigger tools, the snap-on toolbox, and the jack. And eventually he kind of said, how about $500? And as much as we tried to negotiate, he just wasn't going anything below that. So we even went back and started throwing in more tools like this chain. We got the impact sets. I started grabbing, a couple of odds and ends. There was a bunch of these smaller blue bins, the Harbor Freight ones. Grabbed a box of those, and just a couple other small odds and ends. And he said, okay, that's good. I think he was trying to get $500 for his mom, because they're going through the expenses of selling the home and everything. So that's what kind of made the deal. Now, what did we pay for each individual item? You could probably say most of the good items on this table, we pay $3 to $4 for. And that's stuff like these GTD tap handles. These things are definitely valuable. The ratchets, you could say that's $3, $4, $5 each. The torque wrench, $10. Stuff like that. The toolbox is probably $100. The jack, like Nick said, probably $100. And all the other miscellaneous thing, put $1, $2 price tag on each thing. And eventually you add up to about $500. So let us know, if you think we got a good deal here. And also let us know what your favorite tools are from this haul. I know some of my favorite tools are over here. I love this SK wrench set. It's very rare that we actually find full intact wrench sets on these tool hauls. Of course, this one is missing the 15 millimeter, but that's a lot better than getting like 1 or 2 out of the set. The ratchets, I love this flex head bent handle SK ratchet. I think I'll be keeping that one as well. The impact sockets might be made in Taiwan, but they're good beaters. And there's some sizes in this one, like 22 millimeter, 24 millimeter. I'm not sure. Our impact sockets are mostly just thrown together with stuff from tool hauls. I don't really care about them all being matching because impact sockets are kind of just for beating on. You put them on something tough and you rail on it. So I don't care too much about if it's a full matching set and all that. So I like the wrenches. I like the ratchet. I like the tap handles, the GTD tap handles. Those are a big favorite of mine. And I think I've picked enough for me. So what do you think, Nick? What's your...
Well, clearly I'm going to have to say the jack is my top. And then just this weird little jack. I've never seen anything like this, and I think that's kind of cool. You never know when you might need something portable. It's light. That's what's cool about it. It's light. It's pretty tall. And I don't know if Kurt mentioned, but this unscrews and you can basically adjust the length. This is just typical steel cast pipe. So you can add or can't really subtract because this actually comes down into this. But you can add length to that. So you could put an 8-foot pipe on there if you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it's basically the same premise as these old Jordan single pipe clamps. The old ponies. You have a threaded rod and it threads in, and you can have some of different lengths. We have some here that are only 18 inches. We have some that are 2 feet, some that are 6 feet, and I think it's the same kind of idea. It's whatever you need it to be.
Yeah, it's nice just to be able to adjust this to your needs. Sometimes you need to push something apart. Maybe if it's not for jacking, it could just be for bending things in place or aligning things. It's just a cool little tool.
Yeah. And then, if you guys are wondering, what do we do with all these tools? Well, we keep a few tools. Every tool haul, we look at the tools afterwards, and me and Nick decide what tools do we need in our collection. We definitely don't have some of these specialty spanner wrenches. We're going to be keeping those. And we're going to be keeping these SK wrenches. We're going to put that in our rolling tool cart because we just have stubby wrenches in there at the moment. I'm going to be keeping that bent handle ratchet. But there's a lot of stuff that we don't actually plan on keeping long term. We really like going to tool hauls. We like buying tools, but we also clean them up, organize them, and we list them on our eBay store. So if you guys are looking on eBay and you're looking to shop and buy used tools, maybe you're like me and you needed the 15 millimeter, but maybe it's not the 15 millimeter, maybe you needed the Craftsman 6.58 wrench. Well, check us out on eBay. The link is in the description of all of our videos. And there's actually a coupon code called NK YouTube. Just put that in our eBay store and you'll get 10% off your entire order. So we try not to charge ridiculous prices for anything. Of course, eBay takes fees and there's shipping involved. But, if we pay $2 for this wrench and, it's listed for $10, $12, I mean, it cost me, $6, $7 just to sell it, and I paid $2. I'm going to make a couple bucks. But that's basically the premise of our eBay store. So check it out if you're interested. Anyways, guys, I want you guys to have a great day. And if you've got extra time, check out Nick over at NK Landscaping because obviously he has his own channel as well, and we've got content there too.